Dyslexia is often described as a difficulty with reading, and while reading can be hard for many dyslexic learners, that description is far too narrow. So in this video, I want to explain why dyslexia is more than just reading trouble, and why understanding this properly matters, especially in schools. Because when dyslexia is reduced to reading alone, many children's real needs are missed. This video is for children, young people, parents, and teachers who want a clearer, more accurate understanding of what dyslexia is. When people hear the word dyslexia, they often think of reading. They might picture a child who struggles to read aloud, mixes up letters, or finds spelling difficult. For many dyslexic learners, those experiences are real, but dyslexia is not just a reading problem. Reading difficulties are often the most visible part, but they are not the whole story. Dyslexia is a difference in how the brain processes language and information. And that difference affects reading, but it also affects many other areas of learning that are less obvious. This is why a child can make progress with reading support, but still find school hard. If we only focus on reading, we risk missing the child's real needs. So understanding dyslexia properly means looking beyond what we can see on the page. Dyslexia affects more than reading because it involves several underlying processing skills. These are the skills the brain uses to take in information, hold on to it, and work with it. One of these is phonological processing, and this affects how sounds in words are identified, remembered, and manipulated. It plays a big role in reading and spelling, but it also affects how easily new words are learned. Another area is working memory. So our working memory helps us to hold information in our mind while we're using it. For example, remembering the instructions while completing a task, or keeping track of what comes next. Many dyslexic learners find this particularly difficult. Processing speed can also be affected, and this is about how quickly information can be taken in, understood, and responded to. It does not mean a child is slow or incapable, it means they may just need a bit more time. And dyslexia can also affect sequencing and organization, and this can make it hard to remember the order of sounds in words, the steps in a task, or the ideas that they're writing down. And because of this, a dyslexic learner may struggle with things like following long or multi-step instructions, remembering what to do next, copying information from the board, writing ideas down quickly, and finding the right word under pressure. And these difficulties are not about effort or motivation. They are about how the brain processes information. So why can this make school feel so overwhelming for our learners with dyslexia? Well, many school environments rely heavily on things like speed, written work, memory, timed tasks, and for a dyslexic learner, this can create constant pressure. A child may understand the lesson, have strong ideas, and know the answer, but they still struggle to show that understanding in an expected way. They might need more time to process information, to organize their thoughts, or to put their ideas into writing. And over time, this can become exhausting. When learning feels like a race, dyslexic learners often are working much harder to keep up, and this can lead to frustration, anxiety, and a loss of confidence. Some children may begin to avoid tasks that involve reading or writing, not because they don't care, but because those tasks have become associated with stress or failure. And too often, these responses are misunderstood. A child can be seen as lazy, inattentive, or not trying hard enough, when in reality, they are doing their best within a system that doesn't meet their needs. And understanding this helps us shift our thinking. Instead of asking, what's wrong with this child? We can ask, what about this environment is making learning hard for them? This part is really important. Dyslexia has nothing to do with intelligence. Dyslexic learners are not less capable, they are not less able to learn. Many dyslexic children and adults are creative thinkers, strong problem solvers, good at seeing the bigger picture, and highly imaginative. They often have strengths in areas such as storytelling, design and creativity, practical or hands-on learning, and verbal discussion and reasoning. The difficulty is that many of these strengths are not always visible in traditional school settings. And when success is measured mainly through reading, spelling, writing, dyslexic learners can appear to be struggling even when their understanding is really strong. And they can be confusing and discouraging for children. And they may begin to believe that they are not clever, simply because the way they learn does not match the way learning is measured. So understanding dyslexia helps us to see the whole child, not just the difficulty. Supporting dyslexia properly means looking beyond reading support alone. While helping with reading and spelling is important, it is not enough on its own. Dyslexia affects how information is processed, remembered, and organized, so support needs to address those areas too. This might include reducing memory load or breaking instructions into smaller, manageable steps, allowing them extra processing time, using visual supports alongside spoken instructions, and offering different ways for children to show what they know. These adjustments are not lowering expectations. They were about removing unnecessary barriers so learning becomes accessible. And support should make learning feel possible, not overwhelming. The aim is not to make children keep up with everyone else. The aim is to help them access learning in a way that works for their brain. If you're a child or a young person watching this and learning feels harder for you, I want you to know something important. Struggling does not mean you're lazy, it does not mean you are not trying hard enough, and it does not mean you are not clever. Your brain just works differently. And that difference might make some parts of school harder, especially reading, writing, or remembering lots of information at once. But it does not take away from your strengths. With the right support and with adults who understand how you learn, you can succeed. You are not broken, you are not failing, you are learning in your own way. For parents, carers, and teachers, understanding dyslexia can change the way we respond. When we understand that dyslexia affects how information is processed and not how intelligent a child is, it becomes easier to respond with empathy rather than frustration. It helps us move away from punishment, pressure, or repeated reminders to try harder. Instead, we can focus on support. Understanding dyslexia helps us see that behavior, avoidance, and anxiety are often signs that a child is overwhelmed. They're not unwilling. And when we shift our thinking, we stop asking what is wrong with this child, and we can start asking, what does this child need in order to learn? And that shift can reduce stress, it can build confidence, and it can change a child's experience of school in meaningful ways. So dyslexia is more than just reading troubles. It's a different way of processing language and information. And when we understand that, we can offer support that truly helps. And it helps children feel understood, valued, and capable. If you'd like more information, resources, or support, you can visit my website. You'll find the links below. If this video was helpful, please consider giving it a like. It really helps the channel reach more people who might need this information. And if you'd like to see more calm, clear videos about neurodiversity and inclusive education, you can subscribe to the channel. Thank you for watching, and remember, difference does not mean deficit.